What if I told you there is a financial mistake happening inside your bank account right now, at this very moment, and you cannot feel it? It leaves no notification, it sends no alert, but over the next 10 years, it could silently drain tens of thousands of dollars from your future. And the worst part? Almost everyone watching this is making it. Now, before I reveal what that mistake is, let me tell you a quick story that completely rewired how I think about money. I grew up around two families on my street. Both parents worked full-time jobs, both households earned roughly the same, both drove decent cars and sent their kids to the same schools. From the outside, you could not tell them apart. Then 2008 happened. The economy buckled, and I watched one family navigate it without breaking a sweat. No panic, no lifestyle change, no desperate phone calls. The other family? Within 6 months, their house was on the market, the car disappeared, the kids switched schools. Everything collapsed, fast and loud. I was young, but that image burned into my memory. How could two families with nearly identical incomes end up in completely opposite situations when pressure arrived? It took me years to understand the answer, and when I finally did, it bothered me deeply because the answer was not dramatic. It was not some brilliant investment or a lucky break. It was a handful of unglamorous, almost irritatingly simple habits that one family practiced and the other never bothered with. Those habits are what I am sharing with you today, and I genuinely believe that if you absorb even 2 or 3 of them, you will handle money differently for the rest of your life. Quick note if you're new here, this channel is my personal space for exploring the kind of wealth that doesn't need to show off. Not rented luxury, not flexing for strangers. I'm talking about the deep, quiet kind of financial strength that lets you breathe easy, sleep well, and make choices from freedom instead of fear. That is what we chase here. Now, when I say minimalist money habits, I don't mean deprivation. I don't mean skipping meals or living like a monk. I mean stripping away the complicated nonsense the financial world sells you and focusing only on what actually moves the needle. Most money advice is deliberately overcomplicated because confusion is profitable for someone else. Today, we cut through all of it. Let's begin. Habit 1. Protect the space between what comes in and what goes out. This sounds basic, I know, but don't scroll past this because what I'm about to share will reframe it entirely. I spent months reading about people who received life-changing money overnight, lottery winners who banked millions, young athletes signing contracts most of us can't even imagine, people who inherited fortunes they never expected, and a disturbing pattern emerged across almost every study I found. A staggering number of them were financially ruined within just a few short years, not because the money was insufficient, because the behavior that created the problem before the money arrived never actually changed. The windfall shows up, spending explodes, the lifestyle stretches to fill every new dollar and then reaches past it, and within a shockingly short window, they're back where they started, sometimes in even worse shape. That pattern terrified me because I realized I had a miniature version of it running in my own life. Every time I got a raise, my expenses quietly climbed right alongside it. New income, new subscriptions. Bonus check, upgraded wardrobe. I was earning more every year, but somehow never feeling any more secure. The day I caught that pattern was the day my finances actually started to shift. I stopped focusing on how much I earned and started obsessing over the gap, the distance between what flows in and what goes out. That gap is not leftover money. That gap is your entire financial future compressed into a single number. Here's the truth that most people never internalize. It doesn't matter if you earn $40,000 or $400,000. If your spending always rises to match your income, you will always feel trapped. The people who win with money are not necessarily the highest earners. They're the ones who guard that gap like it's oxygen, because for your financial life, it is. This is the foundation. Get this wrong and nothing I share after this will save you. Get this right and everything else becomes dramatically easier. Habit 2. Give every saved dollar a mission. Now here's where that invisible mistake I mentioned at the beginning comes in, and this is the one that stunned me personally. For years, I kept my savings sitting in a standard bank account earning almost nothing, and I felt responsible doing it. Money in the bank, that's what adults do, right? Then one afternoon, I actually calculated what inflation was doing to that money, and the number made me physically uncomfortable. My savings were not growing, they were shrinking. Slowly, silently, year after year, my money was losing its power, and I couldn't feel it happening. That's the invisible mistake, and it's draining millions of people right now without a single warning. Every dollar you have is either being put to use or it's quietly deteriorating. There's no middle ground. Inflation doesn't pause. It doesn't wait for you to figure things out. It eats purchasing power around the clock every single day. But here's where people overcomplicate things. The financial industry wants you to believe you need a dozen different accounts, exotic trading strategies, and a degree in economics to make your money work. That's noise, and it's designed to paralyze you or push you towards paying someone else hefty fees. What I actually do is almost embarrassingly straightforward. My emergency reserves sit in a high-yield savings account pulling in 4 to 5% while they wait. Everything beyond that goes into broad, low-cost index funds, diversified, boring, and historically among the most consistently powerful wealth-building tools available over any long stretch of time. Here's something that stopped me in my tracks when I first heard it. Warren Buffett, a man whose investment track record is arguably unmatched in modern history, has publicly said that for the average person, a simple broad market index fund will outperform nearly every other strategy they attempt. That's not a tip for beginners. That's one of the wealthiest humans alive, essentially revealing the one thing the financial industry would prefer you never figure out. I took that seriously. You should too. Get your money off the sidelines. Let compound growth do the heavy lifting while you go about your life. Time is the multiplier. You just have to stop leaving your dollars sitting idle in a place where they slowly lose value. Now, if you are starting to feel a shift in how you see your money, good. Hold on to that energy, because this next habit is the one that determines whether all your progress survives the first real storm life throws at you. And trust me, the storm always comes. Habit 3. Build your shield before you build anything else. Let me share something personal that changed my perspective permanently. Someone I care about deeply was on a fantastic financial trajectory a couple of years ago, saving consistently, investing regularly, doing all the right things. Then life did what life does. An unexpected medical expense landed, then a major car repair the same month, then their company restructured and their position was eliminated. 3 blows in rapid succession, and because there was no financial cushion in place, all the progress they had built over months of discipline got devoured in weeks. They ended up leaning on high-interest credit cards, watching the balances climb, feeling the weight of interest compounding against them instead of for them. That experience left a permanent mark on me, because I realized how fragile progress is without protection. What most people call an emergency fund, I think of as a shield. It is the single most undervalued tool in personal finance, not because it makes you wealthier, but because it prevents life from destroying the wealth you have already built. 3 to 6 months of your real living expenses, liquid, easy to access, and completely untouched unless something genuinely catastrophic occurs. Not a flash sale, not a spontaneous trip, a real, legitimate emergency. When that shield exists, everything changes. You do not panic and sell investments at a loss when the market drops. You do not accept a terrible job out of sheer desperation. You do not make critical financial decisions from a place of fear at 3 in the morning. You operate from strength. Financial stability is not only about growing your wealth, it is equally about making sure a single bad month cannot erase years of effort. Build the shield first. Every ambitious financial move should come after that foundation is secure. Habit 4. Treat debt like it is robbing your future self, because it literally is. This reframe hit me harder than anything else on this list, and once it clicks for you, I don't think you'll ever look at a credit card statement the same way again. Every dollar you owe is not just a line on a screen, it's a direct claim on time you have not lived yet. Your future self, the version of you that you are hoping will be free and at peace, That person has to show up, work, earn that dollar back, plus interest, before they get to keep a single cent for themselves. Let that land for a moment. You're essentially forcing your future self to pay for choices your past self already consumed. You're sending tomorrow a bill for yesterday, and the interest, that's the penalty your future self pays for the privilege of cleaning up a mess they didn't create. Now, I'm not saying all debt is destructive. A mortgage on a home that builds equity over time can be a strategic decision. Education debt that genuinely opened doors to meaningful earning power can be a calculated bet. But consumer debt? The high-interest credit cards, the car loans on vehicles that lose value the moment you take possession, the buy now, pay later schemes that feel harmless until they stack up, that's financial quicksand disguised as convenience. My rule with this is blunt and unapologetic. Go after high-interest debt with everything you have. Not the minimum payment, not the vague "I'll get around to it" plan. Attack it with focused, almost personal intensity. Because it is personal. Every day that debt exists, it's reaching into your future and taking something from you. And here's the part that kept me motivated when the payments felt heavy. The moment that last balance hits zero, every dollar that was flowing to a creditor suddenly stays with you. It's an immediate raise that requires no negotiation, no promotion, no new skill set, just money that finally stops leaving your life. That moment of freedom is worth every sacrifice it takes to get there. Habit 5. Decide what enough looks like and refuse to let anyone move that line. This is the habit nobody in the financial world talks about, and I'm convinced it might be the most important one on this entire list. There's a concept I came across while studying different cultural approaches to fulfillment. It centers on the idea that purpose and contentment are not found in accumulation, but in alignment, knowing what matters and building around that. And buried inside this idea is a word that modern money culture has almost completely abandoned: enough. We exist inside a system that is brilliantly engineered to keep you feeling behind. There's always a bigger home, a newer device, a higher number to chase. And the most insidious part, the moment you reach the goal you set, a new target appears just far enough ahead to keep you running. You never arrive. That's by design. I caught myself trapped in this exact cycle. I hit a financial milestone I'd been working toward for over a year, and when I reached it, I felt almost nothing. My brain had already quietly moved the goalpost further out. I wasn't chasing security anymore. I was chasing a feeling I'd never clearly defined, which meant I could never actually reach it. The people I've studied and admired who were genuinely financially stable, not just wealthy on paper, but deeply, unshakably stable, all share one thing in common. At some point, they sat down and deliberately decided what enough means for their specific life, and then they refused to let the world redraw that line for them. This doesn't mean you stop growing or striving. It means your growth serves a life you have consciously chosen, not an endlessly escalating standard that someone else defined for you. Financial stability is partly math, but it's also a mindset decision. And until you make that decision with full intention, no number will ever feel sufficient. Let me bring this back to where we started. Those two families on my street. Same earnings, same neighborhood, same opportunities, wildly different destinations. The difference was not intelligence. It was not luck. It was a small set of quiet, unremarkable habits practiced consistently, without drama, over years. Protect the gap. Put every dollar to work. Build your shield. Eliminate debt like it is personal. Define enough and stop chasing a finish line that keeps moving. 5 habits. No tricks, no shortcuts, no algorithm, just discipline compounding over time. And if you take even one step today, just one, your future self will look back at this moment and recognize it as the day things started to turn. Now, if this video shifted something in how you think about money, I need you to do 3 things for me. First, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. I release new content every week, and every single video is designed to bring you closer to real financial strength. No filler, no fluff, just substance. Second, smash the like button because it tells the algorithm to show this to more people who need to hear it. Third, Share this video with one person in your life who is struggling financially or who you know is ready for a change. Sometimes a single video at the right moment can alter someone's entire path. Be the person who sends it. Now, before you go, I want to hear from you, and I am genuinely asking because your answer might help someone else in this community. Of these 5 habits, which one have you been neglecting the longest? And looking back honestly, what do you think that neglect has cost you? And here's a second one that I think about constantly. If you could travel back in time and force your younger self to follow just one single money rule from the very beginning, which rule would you choose and why? Drop your answers in the comments below. I read every single one, and some of the best insights on this channel come straight from you. I will see you in the next one.